Hello everybody and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Flynn. Sorry about the technical detail issues we had there. Something that's never happened to me in 5 years of streaming just happened. So we had to recreate the event from scratch. So we are live on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, hello, welcome, congratulations. I'm here with Chris, CK. You're part of history. That has never happened to me on Adobe Live before.
That's okay. It always happens, doesn't it? I mean, we were literally talking about it yesterday when my internet cut out like half an hour before the stream. It's just like I live stream sometimes on YouTube too, and so it's always something.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to, in the background, fix some stuff. So I'm actually going to give the reins to CK. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share your screen. You can kind of jump into what we're going to do today.
Yep.
We'll see everything that you're sharing. I might be a little bit quiet as I work out some VPN Behance stuff in the background so I can get the event live up there at the same time because I'm a multitasker. I'm not a good one, but I can do that. So let's check it out, CK, if you're willing to take the reins.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, props to you for having to troubleshoot that as well under time pressure. It's like the worst feeling. Yeah, all right. Well, hello, guys. Thanks for having me on. Adobe and Flynn, it's an honor, first of all. Yesterday's stream was super enjoyable. I was so pumped afterwards.
That was awesome.
Yeah, after the illustration, we had a little chat after the stream ended, and we were talking about all the extra things that we could have been like sharing and talking about and educating you guys on. An hour really isn't enough, but I do hope that everybody got some value from what we went through. And today we're going to be doing something actually significantly different, but it's still in Adobe Illustrator. Because like we were joking about yesterday, I don't use any other software. So today we're going to be actually, probably surprisingly to you guys, working with photography in Illustrator, which isn't the societal norm. Obviously, photography is much preferred towards Photoshop because it's a raster-based software. But to be honest, Illustrator still handles photography really well. So what are we going to be doing? We're not actually going to be adjusting the photos too much. I do leave that to Photoshop, but we're going to be putting together a 10-slide carousel that is seamless as you swipe across and has graphical elements that work its way through to help convey and tell a story. So as I kind of come across here, you can see it's quite chaotic. There is a lot going on, but there is graphical elements that are aimed to pull focus and direct the viewer to certain areas. So this is a photo shoot I did in Daylesford, Melbourne, or Daylesford, Victoria, like about an hour and a half away from Melbourne. It's a little town that's quite dainty, and they've got a lot of lavender farms, and it's pretty cute. It's pretty wholesome. Me and my girlfriend went there about 3 months ago. She absolutely loved it. And to be honest, this wasn't meant to be like a photo shoot. I just brought my 85mm f1.4, which is the type of lens. It's extremely compressed, like it's quite zoomed in, and it creates this really isolated subject often when you're shooting at the aperture of f1.4. So let's just start. We can talk about the photography side of things a lot more. When you click on new document, you want to click portrait mode, and then 1080 by 1350 is the exact aspect ratio for Instagram portrait.
So you don't do square?
Nah, because Instagram gives you the option to make it portrait. And when you're dealing with photography, you like not often, well, it depends on the photographer, but you're either shooting landscape or portrait. So if I drag this image in, it's going to be quite a big image, but we'll scale it down. I can't even fit the whole image into this. Right. Some is getting cropped off the bottom, and some's going to have to get cropped off the top, which is unfortunate. I know other platforms like Twitter actually post in like a full 1080 by 1920, I'm pretty sure. I mean, Instagram Reels is 1080 by 1920. It takes up your whole screen, whereas Instagram they haven't implemented that yet. Yeah, so 1080 by 1350 is the aspect ratio, and it's super easy, guys. Like a lot of people ask me how I create these. All you got to do is click on the artboard tool, which is down here, Shift O. I never use that shortcut, but Shift O is a shortcut. And then just hold down Alt and Shift, and it'll snap itself across. I've got 3 here, so let's turn that into 6. And then if I just drag this up, I can actually select all of them, drag them across, and I'll grab 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we've got 10. All right, so that's our carousel right there. When we export this, it's going to export it perfectly so that when we post it, it is a 10 slide carousel. Everything will connect. All right, so on your photo shoots, you're obviously going to have your photography and you're going to edit them if you want to, then you're going to export them. I would probably suggest exporting them in like a low-ish to medium file size, just because Illustrator isn't amazing at working with high quality imagery, but you do want to maintain the quality. And it's literally just a matter of dragging and dropping. So I'm gonna, hopefully this doesn't make my computer shoot itself. Yeah, I'm gonna drag these in and start to just have a look at what we're working with. Yeah, Flynn, how's the stream going? Do you prefer if I'd like take the reins a little bit?
No, we're good. I'm all good now. Yep, just waiting till you finish that. So yeah, we've completely started an entire new event. If you're watching it, this is the event. So you've made it, congratulations. But hopefully everyone else will jump over and realize what's going on. And we've got it live on Behance as well. So problem solved. I added a bit more time because I didn't want to lose any time today because we've got a lot of stuff to cover. So we'll go until like 1:07. I think I could move it to. So we got a little bit of extra time if you're cool with that.
Yeah, of course.
You don't want to miss out.
I just wonder if I should put up like a new story on my Instagram, because I think I put up a link. The link would have changed, I presume?
The Behance link will be the same. The YouTube link would have changed, yeah.
Okay. I put up the YouTube link. Don't worry about it. Honestly, it's okay.
It's okay. I mean, it's replaced it on the channel, so if someone goes there, hopefully they'll see a little chat that Johanna's posted in there that we're just jumping on a different stream.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
We'll be good.
Alrighty, so I'm just gonna break up my photography into portrait and landscape, and that's because portrait photos are the ones that like we probably want to make an emphasis on. Yeah. We want to focus on the portraits just because the carousel kind of like it leads into that. We can display it fully, and then the landscape ones we can use as kind of like stock imagery. When you're taking your photography, I would suggest if you're actually trying to do this, take some stock photos. Like just get the environment, get what's going on. Like here, this was at a lavender farm, so there was some really cute little like stuff around, like here, this little basket and stuff. Yeah, just helps tell the story. All right, so then how do I decide what goes where? So I kind of pick my favorite photo for the first one because that's what's going to get displayed on the grid. I chose this one, and I guess we could mix it up a bit and see like how we could change it up a little bit. Maybe we can go with this one this time. Maybe we can mix it around. So I might increase the size of this because I just want there to be a bit more focus on Anna. That's her name. And then we'll get my square tool out and just draw a box over, because sometimes when it clips over to the other side, it's hard to work with. So at least we can see now what we're dealing with. So you just do a
clipping mask there, which is like Command 7, I think.
Command 7, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, super easy. That's a shortcut. Alrighty, so now let's start placing things somewhere. I do really like this image of the flower. So we might have this span across maybe 3 slides.
Well, so these must be pretty high res photos, like a lot of megapixels in this file, right?
Yeah, they are.
To be able to stretch it over, like confidently stretch it over. I mean, there's kind of a background, but still, you don't want to be pixelating, like using an image from, I guess, the internet or something. You might not get this kind of fidelity.
No, definitely not. Depends how high quality it is. But yeah, I shot this on my A7 III Sony, which is a pretty solid camera.
Nice camera.
Yeah. But also at the same time, a little bit of grain here and there doesn't matter too much. If I'm honest. And we're going to be putting texture overlays onto this as well. So you can kind of get away with it, it just adds to the story, Flynn. Like,
you can fudge it a little bit.
Yeah, a bit of grunge. Never hurt anyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing has to be perfect at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Do you do much photography?
No, I don't. Not these days. Very rare. I've got I think the American word for my camera is just a Rebel. So I've got a Canon. Just a good little kick around. I used it for live streaming actually quite a lot. I need to reset it back up. So it's great for live streaming because you can record and stream in 4K, which is pretty cool.
Oh, beautiful. Doesn't overheat or anything?
No, it doesn't. It's one of the only Canons, I think, that does that. And often I'll talk to people about it, and they're like, you can't do it with Canon. I'm like, I can do it with my Canon. And they're like, no, you can't. I'm like, I've been doing it I can. I don't know why.
My Canon's better than your Canon.
I don't know why. It's crazy. I actually had a funny thing when I first started streaming from home, which was during COVID, instead of in the studio, which we had at Adobe. I had to learn everything because I wasn't doing the technical thing. I was doing the hosting and chatting with guests and stuff. So I had to figure everything out pretty much from scratch. And I asked two people that I know are you always got to have a really techie friend. It's very important to have someone that understands tech more than you. For your parents, it's you, if you're watching this.
Exactly. That's true. That is so true.
You need to have someone that knows more than you as well that you can ask, because there's always someone that knows more. So I got two people like this. One's internal at Adobe and the other person's a designer I know. And I asked them both. I said, look, I need a streaming camera mostly, but I also want something I can take off and take photos with. And they both gave me suggestions. I went out and bought the camera and it worked great. I wrote back to both of them thanking them for their suggestions. And both of them said, that's not what I suggested at all.
No way.
And they said, I'm glad it works for you, but I didn't suggest that Canon EOS Rebel thing. I suggested this. And I was like, oh, it must have been the other one. And I thanked the other one. They said, I didn't suggest that either. I suggested this Nikon thing. So I don't know where it came from, but it works a treat.
Perfect.
That's my silly streaming story.
That's all that matters at the end of the day, really. I bet you never took it out to do any form of photography on the street.
I just don't have much time for that sort of thing these days. Got 2 kids, full-time job, lots of things to do. So there's photos of my kids and a couple of family events and stuff, but nothing that I would, nothing close to commercial photography, nothing like experimentational street creative photography. It's photos of my kids. So
yeah, that's adorable. I guess that's
good for
what it's for at the end of the day. Yeah.
How often do you get out and go on photography exhibitions?
When I was a bit younger, I used to do some silly stuff. I won't go into what I used to do because I don't want to be a bad influence. I've got an
imagination.
Yeah.
Keep it to everyone's imagination.
Yeah, of course. But I was pretty audacious back in the day. I get out the sad thing is when you're a content creator, you only really manage to. I feel like everything becomes about content,
right?
And which is sad, because I started doing photography because I just enjoy taking photos, and now it's I go out to take photos, which I still enjoy, but there's this underlying expectation, something to get out of it, which is content. So I try to get out probably maybe once or twice every 2 weeks, I would say.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's just to get more stuff, but it goes through flows. God, I reckon this looks pretty solid, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to use these last 2 photos. Oh wait, no, there's a little bit of empty space on this slide here, so maybe we can bring this image to the front, and then decide what we're going to do with it. When I'm rescaling my imagery and stuff, sometimes I like all the portrait images are pretty much the same, except this one. This one's more square because there was too much negative space up the top, so I had to crop it. And then in terms of centering here, we can see that there's a little bit of space on the right here, the artboard, and then there's a little bit of space on the side. You can use your align tool to align it to the artboard perfectly if you'd like, or you can actually play around with some asymmetry. Why not? Like, why not actually align it completely to the right-hand side so that when they swipe across, it's a new thing, and you can mess with everyone that's got OCD. I do like to keep it perfect, but then there is also beauty in imperfection. So
yeah. So do you ever do the thing I see in some carousels where they intentionally, maybe it's a graphic or it's often a graphic, but sometimes could be a photo where it actually intentionally hangs over a little bit so that you know there's a little bit more coming.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's it's almost like it's trying to encourage you to swipe a little bit.
This one here, this image here is directly over the two.
Yeah.
Yep. And so is this one here. So this flower here is actually like perfectly centered in this slide,
right?
Which is kind of cool because like when they are on it, it's going to be like two images that aren't complete, but the flower in the background is. So that's done intentionally there, which is I don't know. It is a bit subconscious, but and this slide here has got nothing but it's literally got like 2.5. Sorry, 2.5 slides. But I love the photo so much that I want it to be. I just want it to be a bit of a focus as they get to the end of the storyline. So, all right, now we've got our carousel all laid out. You can go up to view and trim view to just have a look at how it looks. Yeah, super happy with that. But anything that you design or work off your artboard, you're not going to be able to see. So let's just unclick that. And if you're a little bit of a neat freak like myself, you can come over and just clipping mask the photography. You don't have to go right up to the edge. It's actually better if you leave a little bit off because you never know if you're going to get it perfectly. And then when you export everything and you're in bed and you're about to post it and you see this little white line at the top, It's going to make you so furious. I promise.
Especially if you've written your caption and hashtags and you're ready to go. You're just triple checking just before you press post and little line somewhere, little white or black line. Yeah.
It's the worst. Yeah. So, and you can't rescale it or anything because then it'll put the whole
right.
So just keep that in mind, I guess. Alrighty, so let's get into making some assets. This is the one that we made before. Now it's pretty straightforward. Like I picked two fonts that I thought really helped convey this storyline. And I was speaking to Flynn before. If I just bring up my Instagram quickly. Let's say we go on to one that I've previously done. Like maybe one that's more cyberpunk like this. This has typography that's a bit more bold. It's a bit more in your face. Like as you can see with this one here, it's actually italicized to give this feeling of this like nightscape, moody, kind of like strong, firm approach. Very cyberpunk. So with this one, it's actually quite the contrast. We want to go with something, well, it's up to you. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but I wanted to go with something that was more dainty, more floral, more elegant. So I found this font on Adobe Fonts, which is a great platform, by the way. You literally click install family and it'll give you like, this one here doesn't have any family members, but it just installs it straight into your software. How great is that, Flynn?
It's pretty cool. It's a really great addition. I really love it, and it follows you across apps as well. So if you're someone that jumps across from like Illustrator and then you want to jump into After Effects, it's just there, which is cool. Which I really like. I just favorite any of the fonts that I kind of sync, and they're all for commercial use as well. So you don't have to worry about licensing or anything like that. It's such a thing. I definitely remember back in the day that the issues with fonts would happen all the time. You'd be working. I didn't do a lot of agency work, but I worked with agencies, and you'd sort of get towards the end of the project, and then someone would sort of say, "Have we licensed that font for this project?" And then you'd find out that it's like a $50,000 font or something.
Oh no!
The budget doesn't cover it at all, and stuff like that would happen a lot with fonts. A lot of kind of what can I say? Like, it's just a bit of a slow process as well. agencies
Where-
would tend to have hard drives passed around with lots of fonts on it. So you get to the commercial part, and it's like, where did we get this font from? We have to find it.
Of course. Oh, I hate nothing more sometimes, even just trying to find fonts within my own files. Like I'll be creating logos for a client, and I'll just come across a font that I think works really well. I'll use it, I'll expand it and play around with it, and then we might get to like towards the end, and I'm like, oh, the client's like, what's the font? And I'm like, oh, I didn't save it.
Yeah.
So I have to go through all the actual like fonts and be like, is that the one? Is that the one?
I've done that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you make tweaks to it, like it's something that you might use for a logo, and then there's so many iterations by the end, it might not look exactly like that original base font that you originally used.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way. So little things like that just help improve workflow if you can remember them. This here, actually, if I just switch it up, Flynn, this is like a bit of a reverse mask. Now, I'm sure there's so many other ways to do this. This was initially the mask that I masked around her hair, but then if I hit Control-7, it's just going to mask what's inside. So what I have to do now is actually reverse it, and by doing that, I add 2 anchor points at the bottom, and I kind of just drag it up.
Interesting.
So yeah. I'm like, cool. Now that reversed, and that looks pretty good to me.
Totally works.
This part of her hair is like, it's out of focus because the camera is super sharp. So what we might do is we come into the font, or the mask, and I'll just grab the eraser tool, and we can just increase the size a little bit, and maybe just like have like where some of her hair is. Not that this is going to be super recognizable and noticeable, but it's the little details that make it.
That's a cool trick.
Nice. Yeah.
I like that.
All right, I'm going to take away those last 2. All right, yeah, let's just put it like that.
It's a really small detail, but like, because of course people are looking at it for what? Like 3 seconds, 2 seconds max before they
start swiping instantly.
Before
yeah,
you start swiping, right? Like on something like Instagram. So it's interesting what you could just do very quickly, but adds a lot of depth.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And we're going to add some more depth to the image soon. How are we doing for time?
It's going to be hard for me to tell you exact numbers today because we've got till 1:05. Right?
1:05.
If that helps. If you have a clock visible.
1:05. Yeah.
So my math is 28 minutes plus 5 minutes. 33 minutes.
Alrighty. Let's see if we can speed run a bit. So what I just did then is go onto the internet and type in Daylesford because I needed some text to kind of add. It's like a little bit of a publication, Flint, in a way.
Right. It's almost
like
really a page layout, like a mini magazine sort of thing.
Yeah, like a little magazine. Because it just helps kind of give a bit of substance, helps tell that story. So right here, we've just literally ripped the about Daylesford off Google. And we're just going to now put this somewhere. So we'll add transparency later. So like a blending mode. So let's just leave it all white for now. So if we go back into this mask, we'll just increase the opacity again, just so people can kind of see what we're working with on the stream. Alrighty, what else do we need? This is where we can get creative. So why don't we create some little icons? So if we come up to, actually, you know what? We can just kind of freehand it, I'm sure. So with the pencil tool, let's draw some stuff. Draw that line and reflect it over. Then if we maybe drag it across, select the 2, I'll grab my Pathfinder and hit divide. We can get rid of this stuff at the top and then join this at the bottom. Now I'm just going to color in this shape here, fill it up, select it all and unite it all. And then these 2 at the bottom, we should be able to curve. Now we've got a pretty cool shape.
Nice.
Now, let's do something similar at the bottom. This is the bottom here, so maybe we'll use the pen tool this time just to keep it like even. And then, yeah, looks pretty cool. And I'm just freehanding this with my mouse everybody. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just coming up with this on the spot. It's the beautiful thing about creativity. Nothing is wrong or incorrect.
Pretty impressive doing this with just a mouse, like not a tablet.
But if you stuff up a little bit like that, like there you go, I've just hit simplify.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of always following other lines that I create, so I've got a little bit of something to go off. Maybe we'll create a circle here. It's okay that it's not perfect either. Do that. And I just want to flick this in. Okay. Let's select these two. Hit Control C, Control V, transform, reflect. We'll bring it over here and try and make sure that it's somewhat perfect. All right, I like that. I think I do want to go path and offset path this one because it just seems a little bit heavy for me. Maybe if we can create like a hole in the middle, that might look pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, so like the weight, it was just a bit too weighted, that one, because it was this one that was super big and one solid color. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what it would look like if we grouped that whole thing, Flint, and went over to repeat and radial.
I do love this. It's great for creating crazy patterns. It looks cool.
Yeah, like mandalas. Maybe we'll just move this out. Oh, now we've got a square. What if we were to like rotate it a bit and then add like another one maybe?
Yeah, nice.
That's cool, but it maybe looks a little bit too tribal for now. Let's now put this. Now we can put this at the top, just up here.
Chris crown.
Give myself a cheeky crown.
Yeah. Symbolic.
And maybe we can like use it somewhere else. I like to duplicate things that I make because you spend time on it. So why not make the most of it somewhere else on the artwork? Maybe somewhere where people won't even like necessarily pick up on it.
Yeah.
Like maybe we can put it here, kind of off the screen a bit. All right, cool. Now I also really like creating like kind of little like icons. So we will use the radial tool now, but something that's a little bit more simple.
Kind of nice not having perfect circles, because obviously you could very easily create a perfect circle, but you don't want to do that. So
yeah,
it's nice to have something.
It's organic.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice.
That looks really nice. And then you can kind of like wiggle it around. That looks like a flower. I wonder if we can draw on this? Yeah, we can. Sick. But it's always just a little bit of trial and error. Like I'm not Picasso or anything. But that looks absolutely beautiful.
It's great.
Yeah. we're gonna
mini tutorial how to do a really quick flower.
Literally, just bang. Now what we can do is I like to create these and then duplicate it over once and twice. Group the whole thing again, and then we can just put it at the bottom, just as like a little, I don't even know what you'd call it, just for fun. All right, that looks great there. And then I might do it again and put it one over here. I like to have things that span across, like we spoke about before, just to encourage the swiping, and maybe this one can rotate a bit and go vertically. Okay, what else do we need, Flynn? What do you reckon? Is there anything that comes to mind or you want to emphasize? Or
so I think that maybe you need something on that third panel.
Yeah
with the flower.
Yeah, I agree. Why don't we do something like this? What's your favorite letter? No one's probably asked you that question before.
Let's do a Q.
Q.
I know what you're getting at. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, so we hit Q.
That's the test. What the font looks. That's pretty nice. It's cool.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Whoever was the typographer Like this has just done our work for us.
Capital Qs are just the jam.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. So we can really just increase the size of it here. But what if we want to create some depth? We can always just bring this to the front, which is fun and all, but what if we wanted to make it like go underneath on this side, but then the other side, like these elements here actually stay on top? We'll draw a line at where the border of the photograph is, and we'll just hit divide. We'll slice that off, and we'll do the same. Might have to zoom in on this side too. Turn it into a stroke. I use strokes as kind of like knives in a way.
Right.
I don't know if anyone else does that. It works for me. And there you go. Now you can see it's like almost as if the image has just been slotted in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got
So
about
seeing, between the shape.
Yeah, which is really nice.
So what did you do with the line then? So you got the pen tool, you made the line, or you used the line tool to make the line, either way, and then
do it again.
You sliced it. Yeah, do you want to do it again?
Yeah.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
Have a look at that.
For sure. Maybe we can use a different letter this time. Maybe D. Well, it's not the font. This is the font, by the way, guys. Spignarian script, if you're wondering. What's another cool one? G's pretty cool. Oh, yep. Have a look. Lowercase. Oh no, that is capital. Maybe C. Yeah, C is nice. So Shift, Control, and O actually just expands it straight away. And then let's see if we can maybe intertwine it with the model here. Okay, let's put it there. So let's say we want to make it go behind her character.
It'd be hard because she's out of focus, right?
Yeah, it would be hard. It might not look as great. Maybe it'll look, I mean, this is where Photoshop will come in handy a little bit. You could do it on Illustrator, but actually, you know what? Let's just send it. I'll show you guys something pretty cool.
There was a question before we get too deep on that one. From Damon, can the tool make a linear / bicubic pattern like a painting frame? I assume you're talking about the rotate tool. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Can the tool make a linear / bicubic pattern like a painting frame? If I was going to do that, I would use the make pattern tool. That's what I would use for that rather than the rotate. So you could create a box, a square, flat, and then you can create a pattern out of it, and then you can make an infinite pattern that way. If I'm understanding you correctly, that's what I would do.
Yeah, do you think that's what he's asking?
I don't know. I may have answered a question that was not asked of me, but maybe I edged it into a way so that I knew the answer, but that wasn't the question that was asked at all. Who knows? To be honest, I know there is a term bicubic. I don't know what it means, if I'm completely honest. If you want to elaborate a little bit more, Damon, so we can understand a little bit better. Or if I nailed it, just let me know.
So the pen tool will allow us to create strokes, and if your fill is selected, it's going to turn it into this, which you can also use, but if you convert it over to a stroke, which is like this little arrow here, and select what you want to slice, and then hit the divide tool, it's gonna turn it, it's gonna slice it essentially, but it's all one group. It's still not divided, but when you use your direct selection tool and click on it, then you can delete it.
Right.
So it looks like we get the effect, but it's not actually behind. Do you know what I mean?
I do. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. A little bit of a magician trick.
Like it.
Alrighty. Yeah, I like this. Let's see if we can get some more text. All right, let's grab maybe this. And it's literally, this is all it is, Glenn. It's pretty straightforward. Just have fun with it. Like, there's no rules. Obviously you do want to be applying like your typical design principles and elements to this, I guess. Like hierarchy, balance, focal point, and yeah, you can apply your photography knowledge to this too. Like right here, I've placed the C in a way so that her face is in the middle of that curve, so it's just aesthetic
Yeah,
to
you're
look
framing her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun about it, because you're combining design and photography.
Yeah.
Um,
And something cool as well, like I think you mentioned at the beginning, like some of you might be surprised using Adobe Illustrator for photography based thing, but it's so quick as well. Like you can add whatever you want, right? Like with like any sort of vector shapes or any graphic kind of over the top, super quick, which is really cool way of doing it kind of natively.
I don't know how you do this in Illustrator. Sorry, Photoshop. I just would not have a single clue. Let's put this down there almost as if it's like a blurb or something. And then you just look around and you're like, oh, what else could I add? Something I do like to do sometimes is I've figured out how to do recently. Sometimes you can pick a letter, like maybe we will choose D for Dalesford, and then expand it, because this is so calligraphic. It actually comes down to a really small point. And we can use that point. We can extend from that. So why don't we talk about how to add to a shape?
Okay.
You can flip it upside down so it's not instantly recognizable.
Looks like a treble clef.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Do you like your music?
Yeah, I like music.
All right, so why don't we
just hardcore trance, as we discussed.
yeah. Why don't we try something? Why don't we, instead of this element of the typography coming all the way over here, we're going to use that same trick I taught you guys before with the strokes, and we're going to delete this section, and then we're also going to come here and delete this section, because now what we want to do is we want to add to the bottom of this. Delete these little things as well. Sometimes when you use the Pathfinder, it creates these like invisible strokes. It's not the perfect way, like it is a destructive way of creating, which I'm sure there's artists out there that are like, it doesn't matter. If you know how to work around it, then it's all good. So now the tricky part is using the pen tool to get a flow effect that doesn't look artificial. It actually suits. So your handlebars are these things, and that's what affects the angle. And you never truly know how it's going to look until you finish it. But this is tricky. This is a very tricky part. So why don't we make it go behind her head? But we'll do that later, and then maybe we'll make it go into the box. So there is this thing called what is it called actually? The curvature tool. And it curves your lines for you based on whatever angle you're going into.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've used it before, Flynn.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. It is quite useful.
Yeah, maybe we'll make it go to the sign. Yeah, so this is nice, but it hasn't done it exactly how I'd like it. Maybe want it to be a little bit more rounded up here. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's work with that. And let's see what happens if we just duplicate our original line over. Okay, it's going to go from like really thin. There's actually a little bit of crossover here, which I don't mind, but it might be a bit too thin. So, and this is where it gets tricky, because now you want to kind of work with two lines and create. This is probably where I spend a lot of my time actually with these ones, and people probably don't even realize it. Okay, so it's going to go super thin here, which I like because this is probably just as thin, if not thinner. So we've got consistency and cohesion there. It gets decently thick up the top, and then it's going to come back down, and maybe we can make it pretty thin again. So we'll combine those two. We'll see how this looks. And in terms of time, we've got about 15 minutes.
Yeah, perfect.
Amazing. So I've just completed the shape. Maybe I'll show you guys how to do that. So we've got two lines here. I select my pen tool. I click on this little line icon is like, do you want me to add to the line? And I'm like, yes. And then I come over and that little circle tool is like, do you want me to finish this? Yeah. That's how Illustrator speaks to me in my head.
That's great.
And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted you to do, Illustrator. Thank you. Good job. Now Illustrator's like, oh, it wasn't perfect, so we're going to give you the option to curve it in. This little line here is like, here, make me nice and smooth. And I'm like, thanks, Illustrator. Sometimes it doesn't give you that option, and that's because it's too small. Your shape is too small. Right. And for whatever reason, the vector algorithm's like, nah, I don't like it. So you can increase it, smooth it out, and then decrease it again.
And then decrease it. Interesting. Yeah.
And that's looking pretty good. Pretty happy with how that's looking. Let's draw around Anna's hair here, and then I can't see exactly where it is there, so we're going to just change opacity down and come around. Yeah, nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bang. Nice. Now look, it's not going to be like a transparent like opacity situation with like Photoshop, like it's just sliced, but it's good enough. It's good enough for Instagram, you know.
Yeah, it was years ago, and we had a photographer on, if I remember correctly, I think it might have been Demis Rusley, and
yep, I know Demis.
Yeah, so he's talking about he was doing some editing, and he's talking about always having an image in your photo. That, you know, they go on these tours and have photos of, you know, some amazing landscape or something. They're like, you always got to have a person in there, otherwise there's no sense of scale and it just looks flat every time. And it's like, oh, okay, I never realized that. And then so they would often place each other and use each other to photograph. And I remember him just super, super quickly, he's like, just basically with the pen tool, just cut out, you know, one of his buddies and put them in, and then just zoomed out and goes, yeah, that's it. That's all you really need to do. If it's going to go on Instagram, that's all you need to do, because they're tiny. And he was just like, why waste time editing in tiny, tiny detail when it's going to be lost by the time I upload it to Instagram anyway? And it was a bit of an epiphany of that. It was just like, yeah, you just like, there's no need to go crazy when it's not going to be noticed in the final bit.
Exactly. I mean, Instagram butchers your quality anyways. So
exactly. Yeah.
And the thing is with content is you want to be working on to the next thing sometimes, which I think is actually healthy. I really do think that's healthy to not be a perfectionist with what you're working on, and just good enough onto the next. Yeah,
I think so. I think it's important not to just have a hard drive full of half finished work and kind of publish it, get it out there, get feedback. You know? Yeah,
there's no need to be a perfectionist either.
Yeah. Hey, we had a question. I know we're probably going to have a little bit of time to talk about exporting settings, but we'll have a little preview here. Anita has asked, I'll say that again. Anita has asked, what would you save this as? PDF, PNG?
PNG.
Why PNG?
I think it's a lot nicer. It actually maintains quality a lot better, and the file size isn't significantly larger than JPEG. It's just been really good to me, PNGs. I just love PNGs. They treat me well. I look after them.
Well, you can't go wrong with PNG in my opinion. So
yeah, do you agree?
Oh yeah, in any case that you can do it for sure. So PNG is lossless. So you could save a PNG and copy it. You could download it from the internet. I could send you a PNG. You know, you could upload it to something, unless the platform itself is crushing it, which Instagram does do. Then it will be the same file. So the pixels are literally in the same spot. If we passed it around to 100 people and it came back to me, it would be identical to the one on my hard drive.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, JPEG, however, is lossy. So it crushes it and it interprets the pixels. And so if we sent it around to 100 people, by the time it got back to me, the file size would be really small and the pixels would blur into each other. So that is a fun fact about JPEGs and the internet.
Yeah, there you go. I remember learning about lossy and lossless back in this class that I had at school. And I yeah, I forgot completely exactly like what it was.
Yeah.
So that's good to know. It's
Yeah.
but
PNGs
yeah,
are good. But they are
we'll go
larger
through
file
the
sizes, that's all. And
Yeah.
often when you upload to things like Facebook,
IG.
yeah, Instagram, whatever, they'll crush them and they compress them even more as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Than you would, because obviously they're trying to save on file size and sharing and upload speeds and stuff like that.
Yeah, interesting. There you go. I'll go to the export of this because there is a specific setting that I click or enter. I think it asks you for your PPI.
Right.
And I make sure to type in 144. So medium is 150. Kind of like low for screens is what they suggest is 72, and then high quality is 300. But for some reason, I asked this Illustrator and vector artist a while ago what his export settings were, because his vectors just looked so sharp. And he said 144 PNG, 144 PPI, and I was like, okay, that's just what I've done ever
double
since.
72, right? Yeah, double 72.
Yeah, and so far it's been really good, even with all my photography and larger file sizes. So
that is interesting. Yep.
Maybe you guys can take that little tip and do as you wish.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna give that a try. Yeah, there's often a little bit of ambiguity on what's going on in the background with uploading your content somewhere as well. Like what's actually happening to my file. It's not clear as far as I'm aware of what's actually happening.
No, you never know. It's 156 now, so this is looking pretty good to me, guys. I've added a bunch of typography. There's a little bit of text in there to add a bit of substance. The scale is quite nice, and as people kind of work through this, I'm sure they'll have a great time. Now what I'm going to do is select everything except what's currently in a mask, because it will just select a mask. And then we're going to go over to window, appearance, not appearance, window transparency. Yeah. And then we're going to click on overlay. I find overlay just works so much nicer. It just enhances the highlights, and then you can still see like the white outline a little bit with the shadows. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that to the rest. So
very
everything
cool.
Here.
Damon comment on was 72 to 144 for online and 300 for printing. Yeah, so 300 is usually the go-to standard if you want to print something out. Correct.
It's always good to kind of wrap your head around a little bit. Yeah, it's looking awesome. The only thing that I like to do just to like add the icing on top is create a little bit of a drop shadow. Now you can do this via effect, blur, and then Gaussian blur, but there is a drop shadow effect as well. So we're just going to make this, I don't really make it black because it's such a green image that, all right, let's see how my computer goes now.
Oh yeah, adding a filter in Illustrator to a large file. Yeah, you could. It's good. It's good to do these things at the end.
Yeah, at the very end. All right, so we'll bring this. Ooh, so now layering gets a little bit funny. I don't know exactly what's behind, but there we go.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah,
it just applies it just creates a little bit of separation between the background and the image. Otherwise, it might come across a little bit too chaotic. So let's maybe put this one here. And maybe we don't have to do it to all of them, but just so that we can get through the end. The only other thing I want to talk about, Flynn, would probably be like textures. You can add texture packs to. I don't actually have any for sale. I probably should make my own texture pack, but I've got some on my computer.
And do you save them to the hard drive? Do you use like libraries or anything to bring that in, or what do you do?
I've got I can show you guys actually. I've got a I've got a folder called templates, and it's got literally everything: animation, email signature, icons. Like I've created my own Illustrator PNG so that I can just drag and drop them into Reels. And I've got a folder here that has overlays.
I need to do that myself, actually. Get all the recreate everything as vector artwork, like the arrows and magic wand tool and all that sort of stuff.
Just helps.
Haven't got around to it.
But when you need it.
Yeah.
All right. So this one here is actually my mate's texture pack. You just chuck it on top and then you can play around with the blend mode. Overlay is not going to work for this one. Neither is multiply. I think lighten works nicely. And let's just check out darken. Nah. Yeah, lighten works really nicely. It does play around with the color a little bit though, which is okay. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just change the opacity down a bit. And then if you can apply that, like just to add that little grunge effect, which makes it really, really nice. We're not going to go and do it to all of it because it takes a bit of time and it's just more file size into the artwork.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, once you got it, what you do is you come up to File, Export as, use artboards. So that's going to break it up individually. If you click on all, it's going to do all of them. Or if you've got a specific one, you click on range. Ignore that. Bananas. And then once we export it, this is where we go other. There's a PNG. And then we just go 144. And you click OK. I then drag the files over to Google Drive because I'm on a Windows, or AirDrop if you're fortunate enough to have that. And then you can literally just chuck it into Instagram and export it. That's the whole process.
Right. And then you just got to get it on your phone, as you said, however you might do that. You're the same as me. I do a lot of my stuff on PC, even though I have iPhone and everything. So it's like download and then I have to like put it on Dropbox, wait for it to sync, and then upload it from there.
Yep.
Download it again, all that stuff.
It's a pain in the ass. It is a pain.
It is. Need like a PC AirDrop for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't brought one out yet, to be honest.
It'd be so good. It would save me so much time sharing files between computers and phones and stuff.
Yeah, and storage as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we can just slowly kind of work across and see what we've made.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. The reason why I love it is because landscape images you can really emphasize. Like this flower here takes up a third of that slide, that carousel. There's not much on it, but it's still extremely photographic. There's depth, obviously portraiture, fun little graphical elements. There's design to it, typography. Like it's got a little bit of everything, and you get to share it you get to share this photo shoot as this story for everyone to see, as opposed to just, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I haven't really seen many, if anyone, do this. So it was kind of like a unique thing I stumbled across. And yeah, I think I'm going to continue making it, to be honest. I hope this helps.
Really cool.
That people...
I love how it frames the face with the typography. I think that's super cool. And I think the added depth of like how quickly you just cut out as we were talking about, like you could spend a long time kind of, deep etching, to use an old term, like the vector art from the back and adding like some sort of feathering to it and everything. But you don't need to because it's so small, like it head's so far back from the photo and the photo's in your hand and everything. And you wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyway. So
no,
unless you're really, really looking for it, and even then. And so it's just done, and then you can move on, and then you've done it quickly and like professionally and really nicely. I like this image as well. It's kind of like a postcard, kind of sitting in a clip with the with that piece of
with
type.
The flower?
Our Q. No, I'm talking about the Q.
Oh, Q here. Yeah, it's like slotted through.
Yeah, like a little bit like a paper clip. It's just kind of delicately kind of holding it there, which adds to the delicate kind of vibes that we've got going on here. Super cool. And you know what I really love about hanging out with you on these streams is they've been totally different streams, totally different types of content. And I've had a really great time. And
thanks, Flynn. I appreciate it. Same here. It's been really enjoyable. I hope people have learned something, and they can always just shoot me a DM if they need to ask a question about something else.
Awesome. Well, do you want to share your Instagram as well so people can find out more about you if they're not already following you, how they can, get in touch with you, follow your work?
Sure. So Instagram's here. It's underscore CK Creative underscore, because there's a dead account that has CK Creative. No posts, no following,
no, that's
nothing.
so frustrating.
And I can't contact Instagram to save my life. So anyways, that's my account. I'm posting daily reels. So this is about a bunch of random stuff. Like there's a bit of memes in there, illustration, photography, tutorials. And yeah, if you want to come have a chat, feel free. Just shoot me a DM. I do reply to everyone. So
awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Flynn. It's been an absolutely amazing stream.
It's been awesome. Hey, we're going to try and answer this question. We got 30 seconds to answer this question, CK.
Let's do it.
We're going to run
Let's
time.
go.
But Whitney, you asked the question. Let's do it. Do you have any advice on not overworking or making something like this too messy or too much going on?
There is definitely a fine line in like chaos and beauty. And I guess that's where the niche and the kind of style comes into play. Like how good of a designer you are will relate into whether it is aesthetic. Like, look, this is definitely busy with all the leaves and the pots and the subjects, but you can push it pretty far, I'd say. It's meant to be chaotic. It's meant for people to slowly go through and soak up everything. So I guess once you're satisfied as an artist, then you can call it a day, but there is no right or wrong answer. So just have fun with it. Honestly, just have a lot of fun with it. That's the point.
Awesome. We're going to go out on that. Thank you for the question, Whitney. Thanks, Anita, for joining us as well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the great questions. And we'll be back next week, or maybe a little bit later in the week. We've got some live streams we might be doing tomorrow and also on Friday. So stay tuned. And CK, we'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out with us on Adobe Live.
Thank you, Flynn. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
See you later.
Bye.